Welcome back to Marta from Sparta. In today's video, we will tackle this latest TikTok trend. We will upscale old men's shirt into this trendy Ganni top, which is trending all over the place, internet, social media, TikTok. Everyone is making their own DIY version, and majority of people using old men's shirt. So we will tackle this trend today, and I will give you honest feedback. So Ganni shirt is very cute and it seems to be very trending right now, and all stores making their own version of kind of a similar blouse. And I saw it in Zara, Anthropology, H&M, all the stores making their own version of the same blouse, and the price range is different. Ganni shirt is from $200 and we can go as low as $40 for the same blouse. But because this is such a big trend on TikTok and everyone is making their DIY version from thrift store shirts, I wanted to try it and give you honest feedback how easy it is. Materials for this project are pretty obvious. We have to go to the thrift store or use your partner's old shirt, and we need a sewing machine, so basic sewing skills will be required in this project and using sewing machine. And we're gonna need a satin ribbon if that's what you're gonna choose for your bows like I did, and obviously scissors and matching thread. So I went shopping to the Goodwill and I found a few men's shirts which I could potentially see as a good find for this project, and I got 3 of them. In case the first one not gonna work out, then I have 2 more tries. And I chose 3 different ones in 3 different sizes, and I paid for each shirt $5.99. So the first thing which you basically need to do, you need to find a t-shirt, that's what I did, which gonna give me general idea how I want to size up the men's shirt. And there's few things which I learned down the road when I was making this project. Each of those shirts are in different sizes. And when I was watching TikTok tutorials, nobody mentioned how you actually select the right men's shirt in order to be successful in this project. So I mark on the video what we will be cutting off. We will be cutting off sleeves, collar, bottom of the shirt, which then we're gonna slice this in 2 parts because we need to double it up, and we will cut also both sides of the shirt. And I would suggest, I was going pretty fast on the first one, but it's not really relevant how neat you're gonna be, but I would say stay on the seam. Then I used, as I mentioned, my t-shirt. This is like crop top t-shirt, so as a guideline how short I want it to be. And you have to cut it in 1 piece, because then we're gonna use the bottom pieces as our ruffle, and we're gonna need to double it up, which means the bottom piece we will still cut in 2 same size pieces. As I mentioned, we're gonna cut off the sleeves and think of leaving about 2 inches for your elastic tunnel. Once we're gonna cut off the sleeves, as I mentioned before, we're gonna cut both sides of the shirt off. We don't have any buttons on our blouse, which are inspired by this TikTok tutorial. After we're gonna do that, as I also mentioned originally, we will have to cut the bottom part in two same equal width stripes, which we will use as a ruffle on the bottom of our shirt. So we basically will have to sew them together to create like a one long piece, and then we will create a ruffle. If you have some basic idea how to do sewing, you probably already know how easy it is to create a ruffle. I repeated exactly same steps on the next two shirts because, as I mentioned, I got 3 of them and I wanted to create 3 different blouses. But in case of my pink blouse, I decided to totally cut off my sleeves because I wanted to have a bubble sleeves. So I'm gonna cut off a sleeve and then I will create a bubble sleeve out of this one. And again, in order to do that, you have to remove the whole sleeve. I was cutting along the seams very neatly, so my job will be easier later. So that would be the next step if you want to do a bubble sleeves. I also learned that if you're gonna get a men's shirt which are fairly small, you do not have that much room later for alternations. So my tip would be, get it bigger than you think you need it. And it's very hard for me to tell you how big to get because your body is different than mine. But basically each of those 3 shirts I got, they were in different size. And I noticed that the best one to work with and the top which I loved the most was the blouse which I made from the pink men's shirt. That was the biggest shirt and I had enough room for alternations, and I love the sleeves and my ruffles, and the top came out a little bit longer, which is appropriate for different occasions. And yeah, so I would say take this under consideration, get bigger one because you will have more room to play later. In order to make a bubble sleeve, I'm just gonna make temporary stitching on the sections on both sides on the sleeve, which I marked here on the video. And actually, as a matter of fact, at the end of the day, I decided that I want to have a bubble sleeve on my green shirt as well. So even though I cut it shorter, I still decided to cut it off completely and create the bubble sleeves. The next thing which I did, as I mentioned also before, I connected 2 pieces for the ruffle together. And then when I got into the pink shirt, I decided that I want to make the opening for my hands a little bit bigger so I can actually fit my sleeve into it. And I had to make custom alterations in order to make it fit for my body. So I did the same thing with the ruffle for the bottom. I just used temporary stitching and I created a ruffle for the shirt, and then I actually sew it into my shirt. So you have to sew all these pieces together, and basically I repeated that for all shirts. It was same exact step for all shirts. Temporary stitching for the bottom ruffle, temporary stitching for my sleeve, and I decided to first iron everything so it's easier for me later on after I'm gonna sew everything on. So if you are this type of person, it's probably, I don't have that much experience with sewing, so ironing this first made my sewing way easier later. I also cut 2 small pieces so I can attach to the sides, to the front sides of my shirt. So basically I just measure it and I sew them on the sides of my shirt, on the front, each side, so I can have a nice finish. I didn't want it just to stitch it, sew it under. I just wanted to add additional fabric, so it's gonna have like more professional finish at the front. You will have to wait to sew those two pieces until you're gonna attach your ribbon or your ties. So you're basically gonna place your ties in between those two pieces, which you see on the camera right now, and then you will sew everything together. You do not have to do this step. This is totally optional, and if you do not have that much experience with sewing, you can just basically fold it twice and just run once with a sewing machine. I just again wanted to have more professional finish. So I took a safety pin and I put my elastic in my sleeves already. My sleeves are already attached and my bottom ruffle is already attached to the blouse. And I'm just gonna sew it flat. So I don't like to tie my elastics because they create this one uncomfortable pressure point, so I like to sew them together flat. So everything is ready, and as you see, I'm just gonna attach ribbons in a minute and I'm gonna sew it together with the front pieces which I wanted to. And the color of the ribbons and the style of the ribbons, it's entirely up to you. I decided to buy satin ones in different color, and for the denim shirt I used the pieces of leftover denim. So that's entirely up to you. You don't have to do what I do. I really like the idea of having different color ribbon than my shirt is. Okay, so this is the first one I made, and I'm gonna show you from the distance. Oh, it's a lot of bags flying. It falls a little bit lower in a bag, and I wanted to have like a lot of longer bows, but the fit on my chest is not right, and the reason for it is because I got smaller men's shirt, and I think that if we want to make this adjustment and if we want to thrift men's shirt, we definitely need to get a men's shirt which is a little bit larger, so there is room to all this alternations. So let me put the other one on and I will show you the difference. Okay, let's look at the version number 2. This one is way bigger than the other one. I think the men's shirt also was like 4 sizes bigger, which left me more room for alternations and the fit around my chest. I made it also longer, and I made sleeves less puffy than the other one. I made this one like a little bit longer. As you see, I'm wearing it with the cute shoes. But yes, I think overall it fits better, it feels better when I move. So I definitely would recommend, don't get any men's shirt. Just make sure that you size it up enough that you have room for alternations later and you don't have to stress about anything. So I wanted the front to be a little bit shorter than the back. And yeah. Okay, I will go and change to the last one, also men's shirt, and it was very fun find because it was tie-dye denim kind of look. So I made a very crop version of it, and you will see in a minute. I think that one is actually my favorite one from all. I love the pink one, but I think the fact that I found a denim one men's shirt which was like 2 colors, it made the shirt super fun. So I'm gonna go quickly change for the version number 3, which is the last. Okay, and this is the last one. This is the most exciting one. It's very sunny, which I have. So that one was I have to work on my tying the bow game, but for this one I wear like a crop top because it's very short and I want it to be short and I want it to be more flowy. And as the sleeves, sorry, I didn't dress. I use the bottom of the shirt, so it's also like dual color, and I really like this one a lot. And I like the fact that it's crop and it's very roomy, so it's hard to keep it in shape. So also that's another thing which I have to think about next time. If I make them very flowy and roomy, then you know, every time I move, it's actually moving. When you raise your hands, you have to pay attention to it. In my opinion, it was, as a person which has basic understanding of sewing and forms and sewing forms, I know how to use them. I know how to sew clothes from scratch. I'm gonna say that this is totally overhyped project. It was absolutely not worth of my time to do all these alternations to the men's shirt. I'm gonna say that I would accomplish same results in a half of the time, but just buying the fabric and making this shirt from scratch and making my own sewing form and doing this from scratch. So overall, it's overhyped project, and if you like this type of uplifting, upscaling, I'm sorry, then yes, it's something which you can play with and it's totally worth of the time for you. But personally, I will make another blouse like this, but using the fabric and using my own sewing form, which I will create based on the blouses which I had. And I think that will be better fit. It's gonna fit me better. It's less frustrating. You don't need to all these weird alternations. And I'm gonna say all this trend with upscaling men's shirt is not worth the time. Yeah, the shirt is cheap. It's $5.99, but also like basic cotton fabric and amount of fabric you need for this type of shirt gonna cost you like $10, and you're gonna come out with way better results than this. But this is my personal opinion. This is my personal input. Okay, so as I mentioned before, I wasn't sure if I'm gonna make it to make one more top from scratch before I'm gonna post my video, but I did. I purchased my pattern on Etsy and I used this specific pattern. If you're interested, I'm gonna link it below if you want to use the same seller. And I made this top from scratch. And the fabric cost me, I had to buy 2 yards. I wanted to have more than less in case I'm gonna run short. So everything is actually described. How much fabric do you need? It's awesome pattern, by the way. But I made it, I bought 2 yards and it cost me, this is not very expensive fabric. I just got it because I wanted to test it. And I think I paid like $11 for 2 yards and I still have a ton of it left. So that's how it looks like. And my feedback is it's absolutely not worth upscaling and buying the men's shirt in thrift store for $5.99 or $7.99 because it's amount of time you have to put into it, and also you're not able to make all these alternations which you need to from the shirt. It takes you twice more time, twice your energy, and you're still not gonna come out with the results you want to. So for $5 more, it cuts your sewing time half. You're getting better product, you're getting better fit, and you know you can use it to make it like even vest. You know, if you are actually fairly okay with sewing, you know that this pattern can take you far and you can do a lot of alternations and adjustments. Again, I wasn't sure how oversized I wanted, and I just got back to sewing after a lot of years not doing that. So I said, well, let me go 2 sizes up. And 2 sizes up brought me a little bit farther than I wanted to. I wanted it to be like a little bit smaller. But again, fit on my bust is way better and I got better product, and my sewing time was half what I spent on each of the blouses which I used from upscaling from the thrift store. So it's up to you. This is my feedback. Maybe I am not that great with the sewing, and maybe the TikTok trend was actually not for me, because I found it more difficult, frustrating, and this was super easy, very pleasant experience with 1 hour sewing for me, and I was done. And I think I'm gonna try to make one more, but 2 sizes smaller than I made this one. And maybe I'm just gonna make it shorter, maybe I'm just gonna make the bows in different color, but overall using this pattern was way easier and more pleasant experience than following this trend of upscaling men's shirt and doing that. So this is my feedback, and you know, you can do whatever it's right for you. And this is my opinion and my feedback. Honestly, I will link this below, and if you want to use this one, that was downloaded, that was PDF pattern, so I bought it online, I downloaded, I printed out, and then I had to put all pieces together in order to have the shirt. So that's it, and I hope you like this video, and I'm gonna see you next week. Have a good day.